The resources of the United Methodist Church in Louisville Metro, Jefferson County, Kentucky are overwhelmingly located in the East End, the Greenside of the Timberline. Resources, however, are needed in the West End and South End, the Brownside of the Timberline. Resources are needed only if there is the intent for the United Methodist Church to be present in and in ministry to the entire community of Louisville Metro. The previous video showed the human resources available to the Louisville district, persons in worship and membership. These human resources should not be overlooked when analyzing the resources available and needed for ministry to the whole community. The key to tapping the human resources located in the East End will be motivating individuals, including pastors and congregations, to see beyond their own church. In other words, to make the Methodist connection real and effective. Related to the human resources are the financial resources. Yet along with the human resources, the financial resources of the United Methodist Church in Louisville Metro are steadily moving east and concentrating in 3 churches. Let us look at some numbers. In examining the data visualized in the previous graphs, some observations should be made. First, the gap in financial resources widened dramatically between the East End and the West and South Ends. Second, the expenditures in the second chart are adjusted for inflation. Expenditures have not kept pace with inflation. The cost of being a church has increased while financial resources have decreased for the entire community. Third, in the second chart, one of the trend lines dips below zero expenditures. Of course, negative expenditures will not occur. Rather, a gradual settling toward zero until there is a complete collapse is the most likely scenario. At some point, it becomes too expensive for a congregation to exist. Fourth, financial resources continue to concentrate in the top 3 congregations who dominate the United Methodist churches in the Louisville Metro with membership, worship attendance, and expenditures. It must be said that expenditures in these top 3 churches have been very erratic. Fifth, church closings have had a negative impact on total church expenditures. Fewer churches result in fewer members, which result in fewer offerings. We must ask, what happened between 2018 and 2023? The 2 significant events that both had a negative impact on the United Methodist Church have been COVID and the LGBTQ+ agenda. Both events have reduced the number of churches, membership, worship attendance, and giving. What can be done? Can anything be done? The damage from closing of worship services and sending people home to worship has happened. It cannot be erased. Get over it. The damage from United Methodist Church's adoption of the LGBTQ+ agenda through the approval of same-sex marriages and the ordination of homosexuals and transsexuals, as well as the wholesale adoption of other liberal and leftist social agenda, must be reversed. There is probably not enough institutional energy to do so. The denomination and clergy must return to its biblical, Wesleyan, and holiness foundation. It should focus on witnessing to God's salvation through faith in Jesus Christ for individuals, not placating and comforting every group. If this can be done, then the United Methodist Church in Louisville Metro should live what it says it is, a connected fellowship. What impact would a connectional reallocation of human and financial resources have on churches? A 2% shift in financial resources by budget from East End to the West End would be about $200,000. This shift would increase the total budget in the West End by more than 25%. In addition, what if 2% of the worship attendance of the churches in the East End could be shifted to churches in the West End? This shift would increase the worship attendance in the West End by about 20%. There are other effects that cannot be measured. Who can measure the value of increased direct involvement in local missions? What effect will that involvement have on the spiritual growth of persons in both the sending and receiving congregations? We can only assume that the increased spiritual health of all congregations involved would be significant. The challenge, of course, is to create a connection between congregations that really works, not vertically, but horizontally. Laity must see beyond the needs of their local church. Pastors must stop protecting their turf. Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts in Christian love.